Good.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us once again on this beautiful Friday afternoon. New information, as all of you may have learned, that the SBA did come out with new applications, and there's an easy form and then there's a regular form. So we've been spending some time going through that and trying as best as we can to simplify it. So what we're going to talk about today, our agenda, is we're going to do a quick recap of the PPP Flexibility Act. We're going to go over some compensation rules that were interesting changes that we didn't expect. Talk about the two forms and how do you decide which is the right form to fill out, and then how to begin to start working on these applications. So the first one is, a quick recap. We know that the Flexibility Act, when it came out, it changed our covered period from 8 weeks to 24 weeks. A point to note here that I previously misunderstood this. I thought we could use 8 weeks, 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 14 weeks, and choose what our covered period was going to be. Based on what we're reading, it sounds like you either have 8 weeks or 24 weeks. There's nothing in between. So we're looking to get some more clarification on that, but currently that's what it looks like. Any loans made after June 5th have an automatic 5-year maturity. Any loans made prior to that, you can reach out to your bank and work with them to get the maturity extended from a 2-year period to a 5-year period. And then, of course, one of the big things was that the payroll percentage went down from 75% to 60%. And given the extended period, most of us will be able to use all of that, all of the money on payroll, which may simplify things for us. So the compensation rules, which just came out based on this 19th interim final rule, which final keeps changing, so not so sure how final that really is. But what we've learned is that what's covered for employees is health insurance, retirement, and the state-imposed taxes on an employer are included. For the owners, this was new information, health insurance and retirement contributions are not includable. So that is a big change. For employees, depending on the length of your covered period, the max salary is $100,000. So with that said, you can cover anyone making $100,000 or more. The max you can cover them on an 8-week period is $15,385. On a 24-week period, it's $46,154. For owners, the state taxes, as far as we can see, are still included, but the pay here changed. So you get a max of either under 8 weeks of $15,385, or under the 24-week period, the max you can claim for an owner, and an owner would be a Schedule C, a partner in a partnership, an owner in an S corporation, or an owner of a corporation, quite frankly. You're going to get 2.5 months of payroll for a max of $20,833.
So a little bit about the two forms. There's an updated original application. It's still the same 5 pages that you would have done on the old application. It's just been updated with some of the new rules relating to the PPP Flexibility Act. But they also introduced an easy version. So the easy version has a 3-part test to decide whether or not it'll work for you. If you say yes to any of the 3 questions, then you can go ahead and use it. It's a lot easier than the traditional application. But as you're going to see, and we'll go through this later next week when we have a webinar on that, but you're going to need a lot of the same information. So the lengthier form has been updated, and the inputs and calculations, those are going to be the same as they were before and across the two forms. The two forms, the main difference is on the easy form, and we're going to go through the three-part test next, but it means that none of your employees were reduced, so you don't have to answer any of the tables 1 or 2 or do any of the safe harbor calculations because you're saying that you've already satisfied those requirements. So part 1 of the test is, are you self-employed? And if you are, then did your loan application only include your the salary for you and yourself? Not your employees, not your 1099 individuals, not independent contractors. It's just you. If that's your case, then you can go ahead and use the Form EZ. If it's not the case, then you can go and try the other 2 tests. So part 2 of the test is your business was open per normal and you did not reduce the salaries and wages more than 25% during the covered period. If you say yes to that, then you go to the next part. You say you did not reduce the number of employees or reduce their hours, except for those that asked for their hours to be reduced or refused to come back. If you answer yes to both of those, then you can go ahead and use the Form EZ. If not, and you've already done step 1, then you continue on to part 3. Part 3 is similar, except now you're basically saying that your business was closed or limited in capacity due to a government organization telling you so. CDC, OSHA, Massachusetts government, Secretary of Health and Human Services, things like that. But it's still, you did not reduce wages or salaries more than 25% during the covered period compared to January 1st to March 31st. Say yes to this, you can go ahead and use the Form EZ. One of the differences that I think is easiest to highlight, and I kind of touched on it before, is the documentation difference. And it's almost the same, except for you don't need FTE information as you would for the easy form, as you would for the traditional form, but otherwise they are basically the same. So when you're getting started to do your loan application, you can, the first steps are to find your PPP loan agreement, to download your payroll reports. We've seen that Paychex has a report available that is supposed to help you with this. We haven't looked at the report itself. We can't give an opinion on that, but it is out there. These payroll providers know that you're going to be looking for it and they're going to be there to help you. Retrieve your bank statements, your cancel checks, all of that. Have copies of your leases, your mortgages, utility bills ready, and work backwards. Remember these forms, I already kind of complained about these a few weeks ago, but they work back to front. You need to fill out the later pages to then be able to fill out the front pages. So just know that, don't jump in and start to get frustrated. As always, you can reach out to us. We'd be glad to assist anyone with filling these out. However we can help, whether you want us to just review it or whether you want us to do the whole thing. You can call our office, 781-863-2272. We'd be glad to help you. That was it for today. Pretty quick webinar. We do have one person that sent in a question, so we'd like to answer that now. If anybody else has some questions, please, by all means, send them in via the chat, and we'll be here to answer them.
Okay, so this first question was, I noticed on the revised PPP forgiveness application from the SBA that they're looking for the number of employees of when you applied and the number of employees you have now. Since my one part-time employee chose not to return to work and not collect unemployment, does that mean I have maintained full staff? If you've been paying that employee with the PPP funds, then yes, it will be forgivable. If you have not been, then you're going to have, it appears you're going to have a forgiveness issue.
That's one of the special cases that we advise you to discuss with accountants because it can go back and forth depending on the circumstances that are specific to each case. So if you made a good faith effort to this employee, it may work in your favor. You need documentation, all of those items. So that could be the difference between using the Form EZ or using the traditional form. If you're nervous about it, don't want to reach out to anybody, you can't always use the traditional form. There's going to be a little bit more work for you.
All right, do we have any other questions? Got one thing.
Yeah, so it says, however, the form says when I made the application. So it's the time of the loan application and the time of the forgiveness application. So that would again depend how long, whether or not these people were still on your payroll when you made the application, or if they had already been laid off, let go. Very small details.
Was that the day before, okay, made the application on 4/6. So, you know, Christine, that's interesting. Let's take that offline. Give us a call and we can go through some of the facts with you specifically on that.
Okay. Can I ask you another question?
Of course.
When you're saying, so if this is the case and this is going to be a problem, when you're saying it affects the level of forgiveness, is it the level of forgiveness for the person that I was not paying, or do they take some arbitrary percentage and not forgive it?
I believe it's the FTE reduction quotient. So it would be, let's say you had 10 people, 9 of them came back. Let's say they don't qualify for any of the safe harbors, then it would be 90%. So let's say you were going to get $100,000 forgiven. Now you're going to have $90,000 forgiven. That's our understanding of it. So that's one of the special cases of, you know, if you've made a good faith effort and you've said your job is here, it's ready, it's waiting, you've had this in writing, you have them in writing saying, no, I don't want to come back. It's one of those ways that you can kind of skirt that requirement.
And two, you know, the requirement says you have to maintain, you can't reduce less than 25%, right?
That's hours or wages.
Hours or wages, and then what about overall head count?
Head count is supposed to remain the same. We have not sent out the 2 applications, but I can send links out to them as well as the instructions later when I send out the PowerPoint for this.
Yeah, Christine, that will be interesting. Let's work with you offline on that. Okay, applications.
Yep. Make myself a note.
All right, looks like everybody is tired. It's Friday afternoon. We're going to try to switch these back to earlier in the week. Possibly, you know, maybe Monday or Tuesday, but Joe and I will work that out and send that information over to you all. In the meantime, you know, if you have any questions or concerns, you know, feel free to reach out.
So I think coming up, we'll talk more about the applications themselves, maybe do an in-depth one. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, or suggestions, just let us know. Happy to help.
Have a great weekend, everyone.